Let's bring in Abhishek Anand. He's a research analyst at Centrum Wealth Management to discuss this very issue and what this means for the government as well as for the industry, the telecom industry as a whole. Abhishek, you want to first, talk about the government's angle bringing down the reserve prices, because the earlier bidding cycle was a flop show for the government with, hardly any participation from bidders.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, definitely. If you look at the overall auction results, it clearly indicates that the reserve price was higher, and that actually led to stance change by the government, wherein they indicated that they would now lower the auction spectrum base price by 30%. While it's definitely a move which would give some relief to the telcos in terms of acquiring spectrum, but still it appears a little higher on the face of it compared to the fact that this will keep going up and up if government does not clearly put out a particular stance or freezes the policy, because as we all know, there is a lot of renewal which is due on the incumbent side. So while it is definitely a positive side and there is some sign of relief coming in by the government looking at the result, but I think the uncertainty still continues on the sector.
From the industry point of view, is this still lucrative for them, or because Delhi and Mumbai circles are still fairly expensive? Even after the cut for the unsold circles, you're still paying a steep price.
Yeah, I think it still warrants significantly higher revenue per minute to justify the business case and for companies to generate a decent ROE at current levels also.
From a revenue standpoint, say for example, you've got companies bidding in even at a 30% cut in terms of the new circles. Is it justified in terms of what the industry as a whole can do? Because overall, you've been seeing the ARPUs coming off a bit, minutes per usage also suffering in terms for most of the players right now. So for them to have a more stable business model, even after paying so much and taking so much debt on their books?
That's what actually, if you look at the current scenario, the ARPUs is not moving up. In fact, data is also not supporting immediately. It will take time to contribute to the ARPU. So considering the current base level, even after reduction, the market has to absorb a little higher tariff rate in order to justify the business case for companies. And immediately I think there would be some resistance in our view, because we'll have to wait and see how MOU moves or behaves in case companies increases their revenue per minute. At least if I look at historical evidences, it indicates that there has been some resistance on the minutes of usage side once these telcos tend to increase the tariff. But nevertheless, there is going to be increase if the base price goes, even after reducing it by 30%. There will be still a case for companies to increase the tariff rate to support the business viability.
Right. Just one last question, Abhishek, before we let you go on, the simultaneous auction of the 900 megahertz, as well as this, a way of making sure that participation is there, because most of the companies, for continuity's sake, they will be going in and bidding in for 900 megahertz.
Yes, they would participate, but I think they would again relook at their business, go back and then decide on how the participation level is going to be, in my opinion. Because we have already seen how the auction has fared. I think similar kind of a result can be seen possible from the current ongoing, from the future auction which is going to come.
All right, Abhishek, thanks very much for joining. I appreciate you taking out the time.
Do you have the NDTV Profit app? All the markets, all the news, and your own homemade, ready-made portfolio available there for you.
We will right now answer what you should sell, what you should buy when markets are down.
Download at ndtvprofit.com/apps. Get the best app from the channel you trust.
Every day I want to fly, stay by my side. Every day I want to dream, stay by my side. I
बोरिंग है
Us and we, interesting है.
इंटरनेट है तो फ्रेंडशिप है
Friendship है तो sharing है.
जो मेरा है वो तेरा है, जो तेरा है वो मेरा, जो मेरा है वो तेरा है, जो तेरा है वो मेरा.
Hey, उंगलियों से मुझे ड्रैग कर ले. मजे के हर पल टैग कर ले. मेरा नाश्ता तेरा कंप्लीट हो, फीलिंग तेरी मेरा अपडेट हो. जोक्स में मेरी विंक भेज दे.
चाहे तू जहाँ मुझे लिंक भेज दे
जो मेरा है वो तेरा है, जो तेरा है वो मेरा, जो मेरा है वो तेरा है, जो तेरा है वो मेरा.
जेब तेरी मेरा खर्चा हो.
ब्लॉग मेरा तेरा चर्चा हो
ओ मैं और तू से हम बने,
हमसे बने हम सब,
सबसे जुड़े तो जिंदगी.
जिंदगी what's up? तेरा बाइक मेरा हाइक, तेरा पोस्ट मेरा लाइक, तेरा सुर मेरे गीत, तेरा गॉसिप मेरा ट्वीट. मारो हर एक लुक, तेरा फेस मेरा बुक, तेरा सुख तेरा दुख मेरा दुख. जो मेरा है वो तेरा है, जो तेरा है वो मेरा, जो मेरा है वो तेरा है, जो तेरा है वो मेरा.
और फ्रेंडशिप की शेयरिंग को हमेशा ऑन रखें एयरटेल इंटरनेट.
He's joining it right now with the views on what's happening in the industry. Ms. Vahiti, thanks very much for taking out the time. Let's start talking about, the very fact that you're going to probably be seeing globally, at least, the demand-supply gap widening, and therefore the implications on prices.
Yeah, in fact, we had not seen this phenomenon only in this year, but if you really track last couple of years, there had been production stagnancy and consumption growing, and this gap has been widening. We had a surplus inventory situation in 2008 and 9. Now we are getting into a shortage as far as the inventory is concerned. And going forward, because of the constraint as far as the land under tea cultivation is concerned, we believe that the production is going to be stagnant, at best be maintained at this level. And looking at the consumption growth of around 50 to 60 million kilograms globally every year, we believe this shortage situation is going to get worse by the year, and that should have an impact on the prices, not only in India but on a global context as well.
For Indian players, what's the shortage like?
We are looking at again the similar kind of a production last year, and we believe that the total consumption growth is around 3.5% per annum. That means 25 million kg of additional production required only to take care of the consumption growth. We were at around 70 odd million kilograms of shortages in the inventory at the opening level. I think we'll be somewhere between 100 million by the end of the year. That had an impact in the prices in the current year, which has gone up by around 15%, and we believe opening level in the next year should be very, very strong on prices as well.
All right. Take us through, you've taken price hikes in this year already, but if this gap widens, this demand-supply gap widens, because now you've got winter season and you'll probably see consumption spiking up a little bit more, and if you don't have enough supplies to meet that demand, by what extent can the prices go up further?
Actually, in the auctions, the prices have been up by around 15% right from the very beginning of the year. It has actually further went up in last couple of weeks, and we are coming to the end of the season from the production point of view. We start the season sometime in the month of March, and we expect at least another 10-15 rupee gap up when we open in the month of March for the new season. It will depend on how the production fare ups in the next year and how the global production comes up. But we believe that around 10-15% of increase which we have seen last year, we should see another 5 to 7% minimum to start with, and then get extended further into the next year.
In terms of, how to better improve production, are you taking any steps or measures for that?
As a company, you can't do much because your land under tea cultivation remains stagnant. The only way which we have grown in last couple of years, or I would say last 5-6 years, is through M&A activity. And we had been acquiring companies not only in India but overseas. And I think our focus is going to be in M&A activity going forward as well. more so focus in the overseas market, particularly in Africa. There is nothing on the anvil as of today, but yes, we will be growing more from the M&A activity than actually going greenfield, because you don't do much, or you can't do much about that.
So one last word in terms of overall realizations. Could you throw some more light on that as well, and as margins right now for the business?
This year, I think, had been one of the toughest years from the cost point of view, in the sense that there had been a wage revision effective 1st of January 2012. We achieved a production growth of around 5 to 7%, in fact, extended up to 10% during the peak of the season. And we had a maximum impact on the cost. And we have taken care not only the cost increase, but should be able to improve our margin by around 1-2% to take it to 26-27% this year. So, in the toughest of the year on the cost point of view, we should be able to take the margin up. And we expect normal production next year. This should really bring back the 30-31% operating margin, which we had seen a couple of years back. So I think, yes, 30-31% from current 25-26% is a possibility over the next year, if the price movement, what we feel should happen, happens actually.
Right. So thanks very much, Mr. Bedi, for joining in and sharing those views with us and the outlook for the industry as a whole.
Do you have the NDTV Profit app? All the markets, all the news, and your own homemade, ready-made portfolio available there for you.
We will right now answer what you should sell, what you should buy when markets are down.
Download at indietvprofit.com/apps. Get the best app from the channel you trust.